Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly check out Space Trash Scavenger. This is a game that you can find on Steam's Early Access program for about 20 bucks or so. When I stress Early Access, that means everything that you're about to see here is subject to change. For example, there was no full screen toggle of all things. You can hit Alt-Enter and force it that way. But it would have been nice to have some kind of full screen option. In the game menu, you can actually adjust the maximum enemy level, how often you need to eat, that kind of thing. It's not a whole lot of customization, but at least there's a little bit of difficulty customization there. So what's going on in this game? Well, this company has sent you to this abandoned area, supposedly abandoned area of space, and you're there to scavenge resources and the like. Now, before this place was abandoned, this area, these evil robot alien thingies had risen up and wiped out humanity or whatever it was. There's a story behind that. I didn't pay much attention to it, but you're kind of sent in after the fact to scavenge, and the company's like, oh yeah, it's completely abandoned now, nothing to worry about, just go in there and collect all those resources and the like. So they send you in, and you've got this one little block that you get to stand on, but it's three-dimensional in the sense that you can, like gravity, it'll sort of tie you to that one block, so you can walk along all of its edges, which is kind of cool. You eventually get a jetpack, and you'll be able to fly around your base and the like, but you have to spend fuel to do it. But eventually you will be able to build more blocks. You can even build conveyor belts to sort of help out with the resource collection. There's various kinds of fabricators and the like that will generate these resources for you. But you have to build special blocks for those. There's special blocks for power. There's special blocks for constructing something on top of it. And even the solar ones where you generate power, it's based on how many sides are visible. So if you only have a solar block out that only has 3 sides showing, it generates less power. So there's a little bit of strategy in how you design your base. And eventually you'll be able to build even more things. I built myself a little small, I hate to use the word house. It's not a house, it's a shack. You know what I mean? It's just a simple shack with a little door on it and a bed, just so I can sleep at night. And it doesn't say that you need to sleep, but you do get a warning saying well, you're tired, your maximum health is going to suffer if you don't sleep. You can eventually build even farming blocks and put seeds there and grow corn, for example. So that's one way of getting more food. Typically, you have to get algae in the beginning of the game, and eventually you'll be able to get more food by farming. Of course, you can also sell these items to a stock market, which I'll get into later. But primarily, the general gameplay flow is you start on a base, a very small one, just a single block, and you're going to collect resources around you to expand your base and to get tools that you need. Now, there is a stock market of the end game, late game stuff that you can sell. You can sell to the stock market to generate money, and money is necessary for research. There's also a static map. You start off in one, I think Slay the Spire, where you can move on to different zones. You go from one part of the or one section to the next, or one region to the next. And I guess they get progressively harder as you go. At least that's what I'm assuming anyway. I've been playing for about 3 hours now, so keep in mind this is more of a first impressions video. I have not jumped to the next sector yet. So I'm still in the midst of collecting resources, defending my base from attack. Yeah, you get attacked every so often. And just flying around that solar system, collecting various things. The company will say there's points of interest here, here, here. Go check that out before you move on to the next area. So little quests that you have to do. So yeah, that's the general gameplay flow. Is you start with nothing and you eventually build this little base. You can actually move it eventually. I haven't gotten that far, but you'll be able to attach engines to it. You can build a little steering column, and you can actually steer the rig around the solar system. But everything is so expensive in the research blueprint shop that I haven't really unlocked a whole lot of things yet. I cannot really build endgame resources right now. So you're wondering, well, all right, how do you build all of this stuff? Well, that's where this raft mechanic comes into play. If you've ever played the game Raft, you start on a very small raft, and these resources come at you in the water, and you use your grappling hook to reel them in. Well, it's kind of similar here. You're given this like blue beam, like Ghostbuster suction gun thing. And if the piece is too big, then you can break it apart with like this mining laser, and then you can suction in those parts. Eventually you get better tools for that. The research shop, like I said, the blueprint shop has the ability to like get you better tools all around. There's multiple tiers to this gun, for example, that lets you do it. And you can stay on your rig and kind of let these things come to you. But like after about 2 or 3 hours of playing, I'm not seeing any more resources drift my way. It forced me to go out. I had to make sure I had enough resources to craft jetpack fuel, and I had to go out into the to the solar system rather, and actively seek these resources. And even then, like after the 3-hour mark, I've looked almost everywhere, and I'm starting to run out of resources. My complaint is like, I wish that this game, I wish the resources weren't so finite. I wish the resources were a bit more generous, because I'm one of those people where like I don't like moving on to the next area until I've crafted everything there is to craft in the blueprint tree. Some of the blueprint tree is actually locked behind moving to the next sector, so I'm like, well, okay, great. So it's like the game knows I can't unlock this yet, but why? I don't have the resources to unlock these other things. I could unlock them, but I can't. I've been to almost every asteroid I can think of and mined out all those resources. You do get a mining drone that you can deploy, and it'll mine things around you. And of course, there's a bit of combat too. Some alien robot thingies will come at you every so often, whether you're out exploring or if you're at your base, you have to defend your base every now and again. But like this game is right up my alley. I like games like this. I love resource collection. I love the base building, and I love base defense. It's why I sunk, pardon the pun, so many hours into Sunken Land, which is similar to this, but like more like it's more like other games where you're out in the water on the high seas. You know what I mean? The name is escaping me right now, but there's like Raft, for example, and some other ones. But anyway, getting back to this. Yeah, it's not bad. It's a little janky in some places, especially movement. Astroneer was a lot more fluid than this, movement-wise. Like, I felt like I had more control over my character. The floatiness, like when you're in space or on a low-grav planet, it felt more satisfying in Astroneer than it does this. It's not to say that I couldn't play this game. It's still fun, but like, I had a harder time controlling my character than I typically could in Astroneer. And like I said, my other main complaint is like in this first area, like I felt like I couldn't get everything done I wanted to get done. Like I feel like I'm being forced to move on to the next area because I lack the resources to do much else of anything. And part of you might argue that, well, that's progression, that the developer is forcing you to progress. And I completely understand that, but at the same time, like, then why give us the choice? Like, I feel like certain things are necessary to unlock, like the jump drive, for example. But there are other things that you really don't have to unlock, but you want to unlock because it just improves your rig all around. So, yeah, that's just another complaint that I have aside from the somewhat janky nature of this game. And I would love to see more difficulty options, more customization options. But all in all, I'm having a great time with this title. Again, I'm only about 3 hours in. I don't know how much more difficult it's going to get. Again, you can kind of tone that down in the options menu. Another complaint is that it's hard for me to see, like, as sections of my base get damaged. If it, like, I know there's red bars on the screen right now, but that actually goes away after a while. And all you see is like little jet streams shooting out of these blocks, and they're hard to see, you know what I mean? Like for me anyway, because I'm older. So like, I wish there was like a button I could hit to x-ray all of my blocks and see which ones need repaired or something like that. So yeah, I mean, I like this game, don't get me wrong. I love the idea of a 3D, base a rig that you're building in space. And the only thing you have to worry about really is food. It's weird, not oxygen. Somehow you have an unlimited supply of oxygen, but it's food that you have to worry about. It's just weird. I would think oxygen would take priority over food, and I'm really surprised the developer didn't add an oxygen mechanic into this. Not that, I'm complaining. I just wish it was something I could toggle on or off like I could in Subnautica. You know what I mean? So there you go, folks. Like, this is a first look at Space Trash Scavenger. Special thanks to Paradox Interactive for gifting me this today. I do intend to play more of it. I would love to do a stream or maybe a full-blown review at some point, but I feel like I need to get a lot farther in the game. The blueprints, there's so many of them. There's so much to do and so many resources to collect. And it's going to be a pleasurable, tedious experience, I think. I just sincerely hope the game doesn't get super hard later on and then it just discourages me. But anyway, yeah, Space Trash Scavengers, definitely give this one a look. $20 on Steam's early access program. This is Vince. Thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Take care.